Hey all, I'm back after a very long time to show you all my reading journal setup for the month. This is actually for June month, and I'm very late in posting it, I know, but I've been busy the past few weeks with other commitments, so I did not really get time to sit down and set this up, record it, and record the voiceover and all that stuff. So, anyways, finally, today I got the time, and here you are watching it. This In this video, I'll be setting up my June reading journal and also talking about the three books that I read in the month of June. So the last few videos I've been structuring my videos in this way, where I set up my reading journal and it'll be running in time lapse in the background, and in the voiceover I'll be telling you some aspects about my reading journal or reading slump, etc. So this month I decided that I'll just give you a very short and crisp reviews of the three books that I read this month, and those three books are Crooked House by Agatha Christie, Lalan Sweets by Srishti Chaudhary, and Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. You can see the covers right here. I'm flashing it on the right side of the video. So the reading journal setup is pretty much the same as the previous months. I follow a very consistent approach so that I remain consistent in my reading journal and don't get too overwhelmed. So I'm setting a calendar page first, and then I'll be setting up the individual review pages, and at the end will be a wrap-up page. So that is how my reading journal will be set up in this video as well. So now getting into the book reviews. The first book that I read this month was Crooked House by Agatha Christie. I read this as part of my Read Christie 2025 reading challenge. So this month's prompt was amateurs, and Crooked House is a standalone story by Agatha Christie, which involves some amateur sleuthing from some of the characters, and that's why this book was listed as one of the possible choices. I don't really remember the official choice for this book was, but you can always check out their website. Anyways, I chose Crooked House because I had actually watched the movie a couple of years back. Currently, it's on Amazon Prime, so if you're interested, you can watch that as well. And I really liked the movie, and I really liked the plot and the character building. So I thought I'll go for the book this month at least. So the story is very. So the story involves very complex characters and different kind of family dynamics. So the patriarch of the family is found dead. He's apparently poisoned, and the only suspects are the rest of the family members. So he has a very young wife, almost close to the age of his granddaughter, and he has two sons, and each of the two sons have a wife, and one of the son does not have any kids. The other son has three kids. So the eldest daughter of those three kids is the one who does some sleuthing and requests the help of her friend, or her boyfriend rather, who she met in Egypt after the World War, to help investigate this case and what happened to her grandfather. So this is to give a very broad idea of the plot, and how they find who did it, and why they did it forms rest of the story. One interesting aspect I noticed in this book was the emotional weightage that was given to each of the characters. Generally, in detective fictions, be it Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes, or or any other crime thrillers, you often don't find any sort of reasoning or explanations behind why the character did the crime or did the murder, and so on. But in this book, we get to see from the beginning. There are a lot of foreshadowing, and there is a lot of little snips that we get, so that if you really have an a rich experience in reading these detective novels, you're really able to crack it. So that is what I like the most about this book. The reader always gets a chance in Agatha Christie's books to solve the murder before the detective or the police in the book solve it. So the emotional aspect of it and the grief the characters are facing has been given much more weightage in this book than any of the other than most of the other Agatha Christie books that I've read. So this was easily a 5-star for me. And if you're not up for reading the book, watch the movie at least. It's really good, guys. And coming to the next book, it's Lalan Sweets by Srishti Chaudhary. You might have seen this book doing its rounds on Bookstagram for the last 1 year or so. I have been wanting to read this book as well. I fell for the hype, and in our Lid Zone book club, we chose this as book of the month. I don't want to bore you with the blurb. I'm pretty sure most of you might have already seen what the story is about. This was marketed as, or rather, this was hyped as a non cliche, excellent Indian author book, saying that we should encourage Indian authors and blah blah blah. But it was the most cliched book I've read in a while so far. I did not like it. The writing was very poor. There was more telling than showing, and even the dialogues and the actions of the characters, the character development, everything was so poor. I didn't even want to complete the book. I completed it just because I don't want to waste my 260 rupees I spent on this book, and that I really wanted to see if it would turn out to be good in the end, even though even after 75% of the book it was not at all appealing. But I pulled through and I completed this book, and it was a 1-star read for me. Seriously, guys, don't waste your time on this book. The next book is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood can write any number of books she wants, and I would buy every single one of them as soon as they're released. So Deep End was released actually almost like a year back, I think. I'm not very sure. But I bought it at the beginning of this year, and I finally got around to reading it this month. I actually liked it, but I did not love it. It was not a 5-star, it was not even a 4.5. It was somewhere between 3.5 to 4 stars, I could say. It's basically a college romance story between a swim team captain and a diver. So the main leads are senior and junior in college. And one thing I find that wasn't, that was hard to believe for me was the female lead's best friend was the ex of the male lead, and she did not have any problem with them dating. In fact, she pushed them together to date. That was something I didn't feel was natural, especially after the ex and the male lead have been in a relationship for some 6-7 years in the public eye. So that is the only one thing I found unsettling. Also, check the trigger warnings before you start reading this book. But it was a very different one from Ali Hazelwood. I would definitely recommend it. So with that, we come to the end of my short reviews of the books that I read this month, and we are also almost at the end of my reading journal updation as well. So far I have read 25 books this year, and I'm very glad. It's a very satisfying number. My goal for the year was 50 books, and at the end of half year I have read 25 books exactly. So I'll be doing a mid-year wrap-up spread also in the right side of this page. That video will be out by next week. Until then, see you all. Bye.